Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about simple Prolog programs. Program 1, Family Relationship Program. This is a simple Prolog program based on family relationships. First, we define some facts using the parent predicate. For example, parent parent John, Mary means John is the parent of Mary. Similarly, Mary is the parent of Sam. Next, we define a rule for grandfather. Grandparent of X, Y. The rule says that X is the grandparent of Y if condition is, this is the condition. The condition is if X is the parent of Z and Z is the parent of Y, then we can conclude X is the grandparent of Y. When we give a query, grandparent John, Sam, Prolog checks the facts and confirms that John is the grandparent of Sam. So the output is true. So the Prolog program can be written by using the fact rules. Then we'll ask query. The query will be answered based on the conditions and the facts which are given in the program itself. Next program, student pass or fail program. In this we are going to test whether the student scored pass mark or fail mark. This program seems to check the student's pass or fail. First we define facts using the marks predicate. For example, marks of Ravi, 85. That means Ravi's marks is 85. Ravi scored 85 marks. Then we create a rule called pass. The rule says that a student passes if the marks are greater than or equal to 50. So here the rule defined as student is pass if he scored marks greater than or equal to 50. If we ask for Ravi has scored 85, which is greater than 50. So the output is true. If we ask for Priya, the result will be false because she scored only 45. This example shows how Prolog can be used for simple decision-making problems. In this way, we can define the rule. So based on the rule, based on the fact, the query will be answered. Now we are going to discuss about the simple Prolog program for siblings. Here we are going to check whether two people are siblings or not. First we define facts using the parent predicate. For example, parent of John, Mary. This means John is the parent of Mary. Similarly, John is also the parent of David. Next, Susan is also the parent of both Mary and David. Next, we define the rule for siblings. The rule says that X and Y are siblings if they have the same parent Z and X and Y are not the same person. The condition X not equal to Y ensure that a person is not considered their own sibling. So this is the rule. So x not equal to y, then z is the parent of x and y, then we can say x and y are siblings. When we give the query sibling of Mary, David, Prolog checks whether they share a common parent or not. Since both have John and Susan as parents, so the Prolog returns true. This program demonstrates how Prolog uses facts and rules to identify relationships logically. Now we can see about the simple program for path finding for a given graph. Prolog program. First, we can define the facts using the connected predicate. For the example, connected A, B means there is a direct path from point A to point B. Similarly, there are connections between other points such as B to C, C to D, and A to E. Next, we define the rule for finding a path. So, we can define the rule for direct path as well as undirected path. First, the rule checks for a direct path between 2 points. So, there is a rule for a direct path between 2 points. If there is a path between x and y, if the condition satisfied by connected x and y, that means there is a connection between x and y, then only we can say there is a path between x and y. The second rule checks for a indirect path. It says that there is a path from x to y if x is connected to z and there is a path from z to y. When we ask the query path A, D, Prolog first checks for a direct connection. Since there is no direct path from A to D, it searches for an indirect path. It finds that A is connected to E and E is connected to D. So, Prolog returns true. So this program shows how Prolog uses recursion and logical reasoning to solve path-finding problems. So from here, there is a path between A to E and A to B. So the output would be true.